What is going on? It is me, Joe Schmo, and the Streamies happened recently, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding the Streamies. Now, a lot of it is just like, oh, my favorite YouTuber didn't win. You're stupid, and my Joe Schmo should have won all the categories. But there are some actual legitimate gripes I think that people have with the Streamies, and I'm going to go over two disagreements with some of the people that won certain categories that I think highlight wider issues with the Streamies in general. But first, I have a question for you. Is this a girl with short hair or a guy with big booba? Please leave your answer in the comments. So there's two categories I want to talk about. Those categories are Podcast of the Year and Gamer of the Year. And I just want to let you guys know before we go into this, I am biased with at least one of these. Okay, so let's just start with that one then. Podcast of the Year. That was the one that H3 Podcast was up for. And they did end up losing, but the way that they called the winner, I find to be very suspicious. I didn't watch the full Streamies, but I was checking in from time to time. And if you went in and you looked at the chat, a large amount of the chat was just there for Ethan. How do I know that? Because they were literally chatting, here for Ethan, Fupa Troopas, H3 Podcast family, all that kind of crap. So much so that it was like the majority of the chat that was running. Now, that makes the decision that the Streamies made to declare the winner for Podcast of the Year while a commercial break was running, in my opinion, very suspicious. It's almost like they knew that once they declared the winner for Podcast of the Year, and especially that the Podcast of the Year was not going to be the H3 Podcast, that their viewership would dip dramatically. Hence why they decided to declare it on a commercial break. Very, very fucking sneaky. The other issue with the Podcast of the Year and who won it is exactly that. It's who won Podcast of the Year. I know it's a bit of a joke on the H3 Podcast to make fun of Jay Shetty as like, who the fuck is Jay Shetty? But there's some truth to that joke. Who the fuck is Jay Shetty? So here on my screen, I have the podcasts, okay, that these were all nominees. We have Call Her Daddy, H3 Podcast, Impulsive, On Purpose with Jay Shetty, and The Yard. Let's go check on these contestants. So here we're on Jay Shetty Podcast on YouTube, and the one thing you're going to notice here is that this is not On Purpose with Jay Shetty. I don't know if that's a separate podcast. It's on a different platform, but this is all I was able to find on YouTube. And the other thing you're going to notice is for Podcast of the Year, and I don't even think this is the first time he's gotten Podcast of the Year, but these are very, very low numbers. I mean, 1.7 million subscribers, 321 videos, 240k views, 53 views, and this is also despite some of the high-profile people he gets on his show. Now, let's not even compare this to the H3 Podcast, because the H3 Podcast, numbers-wise, blows the fucking Jay Shetty, whatever the fuck it's called, out of the goddamn water. Let's compare this to Ludwig's podcast and Hassan podcast, I guess, whatever. I don't watch this one either. Let's compare that to The Yard, just through numbers. Now, you're going to see, despite having about a quarter of the subscribers to this channel that Jay Shetty has, only with half the videos, he's pushing similar numbers to Jay Shetty pretty consistently. And fuck it, if we do bring up the H3 Podcast quick, just to cement my point, we got now 3 million subscribers, 1 million views, last one, 500,000, almost a million, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million. I mean, numbers wise, that's what this is, right? The Streamies is a popularity contest. It's like, who made the biggest impact? And that's the only way to judge it, really, because this is all social media. It's about who can captivate the largest audience. H3 Podcast blows the competition for this category out of the fucking water, and some industry plan, I'm just going to say it. Shetty is so obviously some type of weird fucking AstroTurf industry plant that it's ridiculous. And he somehow won this category more than once, I'm pretty sure. And if not more than once, then this time was probably the most egregious example of him winning it, the bare minimum. And this, I really think, highlights an issue with the Streamies, and that is that the Streamies are just going to become like what the Emmys or every other award show that's on television has always been. It's a bunch of select people that all are making deals behind the scenes, pumping each other up, okay? That's why Jay Shetty has a platform. He's some weird industry plant. I mean, I have never really looked into him, but if you look him up on Google, he doesn't even come up for like a podcaster or an internet personality. He comes up for a fucking writer. Who is this guy, and why is he at the Streamies? And more importantly, why hasn't the H3 Podcast ever won Podcast of the Year when they are easily, consistently, when nominated, the largest podcast, the most famous podcast to be nominated. It's very fishy and very odd to me, guys. Next, I have an issue, and a lot of other people have an issue, with the Gamer of the Year being Dream. People are most concerned with Dream winning versus Markiplier. Markiplier was also nominated to be Gamer of the Year, but you know what? Let's take a second. Let's look at all the nominees. So here for Gamer, we have our nominees. Afma, I have no idea who that is. Kalis, I have no idea who that is. Dream, we all know who that is. Markiplier, and Tommy Innit. Now, I don't know. I guess I don't really watch gamers on the internet. It's not really my cup of tea as to what I choose to spend my time watching. But the only real contenders here, to me, seem to be Dream, Markiplier, Tommy Innit. I love to see variety. I love to see exposure. But let's be real. This is a three-man race. And the weirdest thing here is that with Dream, he didn't even really upload that much this year in comparison to Markiplier or Tommy Innit. And this isn't even my words. Dream said this himself when he won the award. He seemed like he was even confused. Now, if we could all just put our tinfoil hats on for a moment, I will theorize as to why I think Dream won this award versus Markiplier. Now, Dream is younger than Markiplier. Why does that matter? Well, I think the Streamies are like very, very corporate. I think for whatever reason, they do have horses in these races, and there are, people that they want to win versus others, like Jay Shetty. I think it's pretty obvious that he's some type of astroturfed industry plant. He just came out of nowhere one day, and, now everyone just recognizes him for being famous, although the only thing that he's famous for is being famous. So where did he come from? It doesn't make any sense. And the reason this applies to this situation as well, if you want to stretch things a little bit, is, theoretically, you may have invested interest in Dream one way or the other, or, both of these people. And I think that by propping up Dream, a younger creator, versus Markiplier, an older creator, you're investing in a younger fan base, a younger audience, a younger attraction to the Streamies. Oh, my favorite YouTuber, Dream, just won his award at the Streamies, and I never heard of it before because I'm 5 years old and I poop my diaper all day. I guess next year I'll watch. So I think it makes more sense to publicize creators that are featured in the Streamies that are going to attract a younger audience and are going to have a longer career left ahead of them, versus Markiplier, who objectively, he's going to have a shorter career to Dream, just, for a variety of different reasons, one being the age. And then also their fan base. I mean, Markiplier has a pretty young fan base as well, I think, but he himself is older. I think just, hypothetically, you're going to see a younger demographic with Dream than Markiplier. And for those reasons, I think that for the Streamies to, get more people in to watch the Streamies next year for publicity, I think your better bet to make win Gamer of the Year would be Dream. But hey, that's just a theory. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I don't know, that was just my take on the whole thing. I don't really watch the Streamies. I think Streamies is overall bad for the community. I know it can be good for exposure, but to me, the thing that's cool about the internet is just random Joe Schmoes getting in front of a camera and, they develop an audience. People want to see what they have to say. Just anybody could do it. And when you start having these competitions, these award shows, as cool as they are on paper, I think that they start to really try to direct an audience a certain way. I think that there's room for audience manipulation through these things. And overall, I think that these corporations will use tools like the Streamies to, prop up, industry plants like Jay Shetty. And I just don't think that's good. I like it. I liked when YouTube's slogan was, YouTube, broadcast yourself. And that's what I'm all about over here. It's been me, Joe Schmo, me G Schmo. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like the video if you like the video, dislike if you dislike, comment either way. Actually, you guys gotta still tell me, girl with short hair or guy with big booba. Please comment. This is really important so we can screw up the algorithm to recommend this video to a bunch of anime coomers, and that will just be funny to me. So yeah, please leave a comment and check out my other videos. Look up me Joe Schmo. Check out the Discord. Bye. Thank you. Bye.